All right, today we're going to be going over what I learned about roughing the passer. Scholarly article, The Framing of a White and Black Quarterback Prior to the NFL Draft. It's a scholarly article written by Eugenio Mercurio and Vincent F. Filak. All right, so you're wondering what this is. Well, let's just find out. So, with the argument they had in the past, it was black and white National Football League quarterback prospects over a period of 10 years, showing a stat that was true to be told as a racial stereotype. When I say racial stereotypes, they're talking about the, like, people assume that like a black person is really athletic and fast. When you look on the other side, like a white person would be probably just more smart. That's what people are thinking. That's not what I'm thinking, but that's what people think normally. So that's the racial stereotypes that you hear. So like I have a connection. So I'm from around Iowa City area, and when I go to these Iowa games, Iowa hasn't had a black quarterback since like Brad Banks, and he played in like the early 2000s. So people I hear when I go to these games, why do we never get like a black quarterback to that can be athletic and is fast and all this? Why we always recruit these white quarterbacks that are big but they can't move around? Like that's a connection I made, and that just made me think of this. Like this is kind of correlating to the article. So methods. They were framing on coverage of white and black quarterbacks before the NFL draft. Um, Data that came from sportsillustrated.com or si.com website has a page for each NFL quarterback prospect for the draft. So I'm saying every player, they're going to have a description of what they're good at and what they're bad at. So like when I went and looked in some of these, they said, so there's a black quarterback, for instance. They kept saying how like athletic and fast and how he can move around so much. And then I look down, keep scrolling down, I see a white quarterback, and they say that he's not athletic, but he's smart, like, and understands the game. Like that just shows that there's framing. So a theory, they combine framing and social learning theory together as with white NFL quarterbacks and black NFL quarterbacks. That's basically framing. Framing, when I say framing, I mean by stereotyping the race of the quarterback on their abilities, intelligence, and athleticism. The social learning theory is referred to a communication journal they observed by human being acquired behaviors. So racial stereotypes because of what one race is good at compared to the other. So that's what they're doing with these race stereotypes. Just because you're black, you're not smart. That's what they're trying to say, but that's not true. I mean, that's just past accuracies of, like just basically stuff that's passed down. You hear on social media or the TV when you're watching a game, oh, that guy's fast, he's this and that, but then you hear others just because of his race. But that's what mostly it is. The theory for the authors, the hypothesis one was media coverage of the NFL draft will use attributes that show black quarterback prospects as having posture, physical abilities, but lacking intelligence. So they're saying basically what I said earlier, that they're thinking they're good at physical abilities like running and being just athletic, but they're not smart, they're trying to say, but it's not. Yeah. But the hypothesis two was media coverage of the NFL draft will use attributes that show white quarterback prospects as having positive mental abilities, but lacking athleticism. So the positive mental abilities of like knowing the game, That's what they're coming at. So existing literature. That's what I found in the article, 10-year period of data patterns that shown racial stereotypes. Examination of 4,745 attributes to describe black and white quarterbacks for data. So that's 10 years, that's how many quarterbacks they're basically looking at. And they were doing all this data to find the racial and social learning theory stuff. So, yeah. And then to conclusion, the social learning theory can affect how people who watch football view black and white quarterbacks. The methods section is very to depth about the theory and views. So it's very in depth, like explaining why. The framing part of it can target one race and be very difficult to overcome. So as I said, like these sports announcers and broadcasters, when you watch a game, you can like sometimes point out like what they're targeting at one race, like, oh, he's really fast, he's got that speed, and then the other, he's just very smart, you know, and just continues it. That's just going to be an everyday thing. Like, so that's it.